Well, good morning, everybody. I never thought that I would be proud to be arrested, but I have never been more proud in my life to have been put in handcuffs and taken away for a just cause, and that is bringing democracy to the District of Columbia. You know, I just left. I had the honor this morning of being the commencement speaker for Strayer University. That commencement exercise was at the Verizon Center, and it was an unbelievably large crowd there. There were probably 16,000, 17,000 people who were at the Verizon Center this morning. And I want you to know that I took a substantial part of my opportunity to talk about the commencement to say to people, it is time to stand up for self-determination in the District of Columbia. On April 1st, I delivered the executive budget to the council. We had a prescribed period of 56 days for the council to be able to deliberate that budget. And the council followed the prescription. It followed the timetable. And in 56 days, the council had made a decision on that budget. But the problem for us is not having delivered the budget on April 1st, or the council having 56 days to make its decisions. The problem for us is that, unlike anybody else in America, our budget has to go up to Capitol Hill to be approved. That is unconscionable, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for that to end. Is it time for it to end? You all have heard it. We serve on federal juries. We send our sons and daughters off to fight in foreign wars.
Say that again. Say it again.
Iraq, Afghanistan, and ladies and gentlemen, we are the biggest voice, the loudest voice in the world for democracy. Except what we have in the District of Columbia is the hypocrisy of democracy. And frankly, it is time for that to end. You heard Elir talk about what apparently happened in the negotiations on the fiscal year 11 budget. I'm not there to be bartered for. I'm not there to be given up. We should have the same rights as everybody else in America, and that is to be able to spend our money based on the decisions of 600,000 people in the District of Columbia. The 535 people who populate the Congress of the United States know virtually nothing about their budget, our budget. And I would not expect them to, frankly, because why should they have to know anything about our local budget? Why should they have to be able to know the details of how we spend our money raised here in the District of Columbia? The fact of the matter is, we have a $9 billion budget in the District of Columbia. $5.5 billion of that raised by the people of the District of Columbia. I don't understand how somebody gets to reach into my pocket and says, I want to see how much money you have, Gray. Oh, you have $20 in your pocket? Well, I know that money was raised by you, but just two things, Gray. First of all, you have to ask me for permission to spend your $20, and you have to ask me for permission of what you spend the $20 on. Now, how in the world can America go around the world, talk about democracy in places like Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Egypt, and all these other places, and come home and oppress the people of the District of Columbia? It is time for that to end, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for it to end. It is time for us to not have to send our laws up to the Congress of the United States to be approved. We should be able to approve our own laws in this city. Why shouldn't we have the same right that every other city and state in America has? And it is time for us, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to get a vote but one of the finest congressional representatives in America, and that is Eleanor Holmes Norton. And it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for us to become the 51st state in America. But it is not going to happen unless we fight for ourselves. It is not going to happen unless we stand up for ourselves. Go back to the 18th century. It was in those days that those pioneers, those revolutionaries stood up for resisting taxation without representation. And that is precisely what we have now. And it is never going to change until we ourselves stand up and make that difference. It is time for us to do something every day.
There you go.
Because if we have an event today and another one next month and another one 2 months after that, we become the most easily ignored people in America. It is time for us to say, no mas, no mas, no more. It is time for it to be over, ladies and gentlemen. The question for us is, are we willing to stand up for our own rights? Are we willing to stand up for democracy in the District of Columbia? Are we willing to stand up for a vote? Are we willing to stand up for budget autonomy? Are we willing to stand up for legislative autonomy? Are we willing to stand up to be the 51st state in America? Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Vincent Gray.